Hello Year 4, welcome back to Maths after half term. I hope you had a lovely holiday and we are starting a brand new topic in our maths learning and we're going to start looking at fractions. So here is today's in focus. We have a very large box of chocolates here and we have some children and Ruby says I took 1 chocolate. Lulu says I took 3 chocolates. Sam says I took 11 chocolates and Hannah says I took 9 chocolates. So how much chocolate did each of them take? What do you already know about fractions? What does hundredth mean? How many chocolates are in the box? And how do you know? Do you need to count them all? How can we represent how many chocolates the children took? So have a think, how could we represent this? Could we show it on a number line? Do you know how to write it as a fraction? Have a go and then we'll have a look at it together. Okay, so here we have Ruby and she took 1 chocolate and it says the box of chocolates is made up of 100 pieces. If you remember the box of chocolates, it had 10 rows of 10 chocolates, so that was 100. And so one of those chocolates is 1/100th of the box. And we can see that written as a fraction here. So 1 chocolate out of 100 chocolates. And here it is on a number line. We can see the number line is going up in hundredths. And here is 1 chocolate, which is 1/100th. So let's have a look at Lulu. She took 3 chocolates out of 100, so 3/100ths. And here we can see it again on a number line. 1/100th, 2/100ths, 3/100ths. So she took 3 parts out of 100 parts. And then Emma took 9/100ths of the box because she took 9 out of 100 chocolates. And here we can see it on the number line. And Sam took the most. He took 11 chocolates out of 100, so 11/100ths. And we write it like this. Here we can see the 11 chocolates on the number line that takes us up to 11/100ths. So to get us into our fractions, let's have a go at counting in hundredths. Can you do this along with me? You'll notice there are some blanks as well, and we will need to think what these could represent. So let's start together. 0, 1/100th, 2/100ths, 3/100ths, 4/100ths, 5/100ths. What could this be? Yes, you're right, it's 6/100ths, 7/100ths, 8/100ths. You're right, it's 9/100ths, 10/100ths, 11/100ths and 12/100ths. Now let's see, can we count backwards in hundredths? 12/100ths, 11/100ths, 10/100ths, 9/100ths, 8/100ths, 7/100ths, 6/100ths, 5/100ths, 4/100ths, 3/100ths, 2/100ths, 1/100ths and then 0. Now we're going to count backwards again, but we are starting at 1. So 1 is 1 whole. If I was going to look at it from here with 97/100ths and 98/100ths, this will be 99/100ths, and then we could have 100/100ths, but that would be 1 whole, like the whole box of chocolates we looked at in the in focus. So let's try counting backwards. 1, 99/100ths, 98/100ths, 97/100ths, 96/100ths, 95/100ths, 94/100ths, 93/100ths, 92/100ths. So here is today's guided practice. So we have a block here. It's very much like the box of chocolates in the in focus, and we can see that there are 10 rows of 10 squares and it's all shaded. So this is 1. It's 1 whole. But then what we have to do is show what number is shaded in each of these. So let's do the first one together. If I look at this, I can count that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares shaded. So if I wanted to show that as a fraction, I will write that there are 7 parts out of 100 parts that are shaded. Let's have a look at the next one. Now I could count all these little squares, but I know there are 10 in each of these columns. So I can count 10, 20, 30, 40, and then there's one missing from the last 10, which would be 50. So one less will be 49. So if I want to write that as a fraction, I'll write that it is 49 squared, squares that are shaded out of possible 100. So have a go at C by yourself. In question 2, we need to look at what the missing numbers are on this number line. You can see not all of them are filled in. So we've got 100th here, and there's a gap, and then 300ths, and so on. And you need to fill in these blanks. And for question 3, we need to complete these number patterns. Now, in A, you are counting up in hundredths, and in B, you are counting backwards in hundredths. But when we come to question C, we can see a slightly different number pattern. Can you see how it goes 71 hundredths, 69 hundredths, 67 hundredths? So what do you think this number could be? And in D, we're counting up, but we have 9 hundredths, 13 hundredths, 17 hundredths. So what could go here? What's the gap between these numbers? So have a go at the guided practice and then come back and we'll look at the answers. Okay, so here are the answers to the guided practice. I hope you got on okay. Could you see that in question 3C, the hundredths were going down 2 hundredths at a time? So it went 71 hundredths, 69 hundredths, 67 hundredths, 65 hundredths. And in question D, the number pattern was going up 4 hundredths at a time. There was a gap of 4 between each of these numbers. So it went 9 hundredths, 13 hundredths, 17 hundredths, 21 hundredths, and so on. So here is today's worksheet. It's very similar to the guided practice. So in question 1, you have these blocks that have been divided into 100 little squares, and you have to say which fraction of the block is shaded. For question 2, you need to complete this number line in hundredths and fill in these blanks. And then for B and C, we have our number patterns in hundredths, and you need to fill in the blanks to complete the pattern. Okay, so here are the answers to today's worksheet. I hope you got on okay. And tomorrow we will continue our learning on fractions. But that's it from today. I hope you have a fantastic day and I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.